Hello, this is a Brave Knight Mercenary spotlight on Cecilia. Cecilia is the queen of the Banshees, but only by technicality as she is actually the sole survivor of her clan of Banshees. Cecilia was saved by her maid Quatina. During an attack to eradicate the Banshees, Quatina held Cecilia in her arms. Quatina was struck by an arrow that landed on her back during their escape. She told Cecilia to continue running. Seeing that Cecilia escaped, Quatina smiled as she crumbled away to her death. Wait, what the heck? This stuff is hella sad. Let me recompose myself with some happy thoughts. Unicorn, Candy, Keanu Reeves, and Coronet. Okay, now I'm good. I'll briefly go over Cecilia's skills, gameplay style, and provide some of my opinions on her. I won't be going over the details of her skills, but just the general parts of it. I'll link the Brave Knight Encyclopedia in the video description where you can easily read on her stats and skill values. Cecilia's first skill is AoE Absorption. This is Cecilia's signature absorption skill. If Cecilia is the main target of an attack, she reduces the attacker's range to 1 tile. This means that so long as she is the main target of an AoE attack, she will be the only one that is hit. This allows Cecilia to protect her ally from large AoE attacks. Let me provide an example. Nartis is a legendary mage who is notorious for his ability to attack an entire lane. If Cecilia is in the front, Nartis will just attack her and the rest of Cecilia's allies in her lane will not take damage. Cecilia reduced Nartis' attack to just her tile. Also, if Cecilia is plus 12 and above, the skill also heals Cecilia for a portion of any incoming damage she takes prior to taking it. Cecilia's second skill is Regeneration Barrier. For a set amount of turns, Cecilia gains a barrier that provides damage reduction and heals a percentage of her max health every turn. Regeneration Barrier is unremovable. It can only be gone when its duration expires. Cecilia's third skill is Curse Counter. When Cecilia is normal attack, she applies Curse onto her attacker before the normal attack occurs. At plus 9 and above, the skill also removes any removable stat enhancement that Cecilia's attackers have prior to attacking her. Cecilia's awakening skill is Titan Strike. Cecilia deals additional damage based on her max HP. At plus 11 and above, Cecilia will also heal 50% of her max health if the additional damage kills an enemy. Cecilia's gameplay is a very dedicated and simple one. She is a tank with the ability to mitigate any AoE attack that may destroy your team. Cecilia is the only character with a specialty which gives her a niche. At any point where an AoE attack may prove troublesome, Cecilia can assist in that regard. However, Cecilia carries various issues in that she doesn't really do much else. She's unfortunately not tanky enough to withstand many units, and her attack doesn't have any interesting attributes other than being able to do a small amount of additional damage. Oftentimes Cecilia's main purpose is just to block an AoE attack once for her allies. While this could be valuable depending on how it's used, Cecilia carries a weakness of not being multi-specialized. She only does one thing, albeit she is the only one that's capable of doing that one thing. I'll go over what Cecilia counters. Cecilia is primarily used to mitigate AoE attacks. Even if she dies as a result, if she manages to protect other units, the deck game may be favorable. In particular, Cecilia is great for holding off Celia, as Celia is focused on her massive AoE debuffs. Celia's actual damage is very low, and Cecilia can easily shrug off the hit. Cecilia can easily reduce the effectiveness of initiators with large AoEs, such as Bane and Alec. If Cecilia is placed in the front, she'll be the only one that dies from them. Same goes for skip initiators. If Cecilia is placed in the skip tile, she can protect her allies from Quatina and Orvina. Cecilia can also ward off mage attacks like Levia, Catherine, Valtor, Frisia, Nartis, and Belfern. Cecilia is also tanky enough to withstand many attacks from tanks and some warriors. She can easily hold her ground against other tanks such as Banshina, Kali, Granhilder, and Lucius. I'll go over some Cecilia counters now. Cecilia's main issue is that she seems tanky, but her base HP isn't high enough to hold off most units nowadays. Most buff warriors with stats weakening immunity will be able to kill off Cecilia. Dalvi, Eden, Seto, Angelica are to name a few. Units buffed by Veronia, Hephasia, Stella, or Ebony become stats weakening immune and do not have to worry about Cecilia's curse counter. This causes most warriors to be able to kill Cecilia with no problems as a result. Lastly, Cecilia is still killable by AoE if she is not the main target. If Levia targets someone else but Cecilia is still within the AoE, Cecilia is unable to reduce the AoE size and Levia kills all the intended units without any issues. So some synergies with Cecilia. Cecilia is pretty standalone and doesn't depend heavily on others. You can use some janky strategies involving Sola or Albion Floria to make Cecilia more durable, but it generally is not worth it. Cecilia is kind of a one-time use character. She's meant to absorb an AoE attack and die afterwards. If she lives, it's generally considered a big bonus. If Cecilia is fielded in such a way where she needs to hold her position, and she depends on others to also maintain their positions, then she needs the other allies to be durable as well. Lucius and Calderon could be good for this. Cecilia shares a set bonus that increases max HP with Vinaka and Mia. Vinaka is a pretty decent support even without her companion buff, but Mia is a 3-star with a very niche use. You generally do not want to play for the set bonus. Okay, so from my opinion, Cecilia is a unit with a very dedicated purpose and utility. Her ability to mitigate any AoE attack and reduce it to 1 tile is incredibly strong, but the rest of Cecilia's kit is not quite strong enough to compete in most use cases. Using Cecilia in Arena requires intention to beat something. If there is a trend of players who use a specific opening that involves a huge AoE attack, then Cecilia can be considered if other options are not optimal or available. However, Cecilia carries the issue in that she simply does not do much beyond her specialty. She's not as tanky as other defenders, nor does she really do anything on attack. I don't think she's really good in Arena as a result, where forms could be variable, especially given that a lot of counters don't require Cecilia. Cecilia, however, is one of the best underground arena units in the game. UA is a format where players can react to what the opponent is doing or plans to do. Having Cecilia in your lineup could be a lifesaver if your opponent throws in a Ludmilla last minute, or as a means to band-aid a mistake that you already made. Cecilia also carries a lot of powerful uses in PvE stages, where some enemies carry insane AoE attacks that Cecilia could just absorb with no problem. So should you build Cecilia? My answer is a resounding no. However, you should obtain at least 1 copy of Cecilia. Cecilia is a great character in the sense that she's able to do her job at +0. You don't even need to invest skill books into her, just level up and you have a great utility character to absorb AoE attacks that you use for Guild War or Underground Arena. Skilling her up can make her tanky and have her potentially survive more hits from various things. This could be useful occasionally, but I don't think Cecilia should be a priority build. If you're in it for the waifu factor though, I say go for it. Cecilia was actually my first 5-star that I ever maxed soul gears for, and this was before she got her companion update. Something about the outfit that just reminds me of 2B, and 2B did some things to me when I was playing Nier Automata. Thinking about it, Cecilia was among the very first batch of units that ever received +15 updates, and it impresses me to see that Cecilia is still being used. During my climb in World Arena, I saw Cecilia usage around the top 200, which is impressive. Cecilia is a testament to the concept that so long as a unit has a specialty that no one else can do, they can still be useful. Cecilia has aged a lot better than I thought she would. Overall, Cecilia is a utility character that is perfectly fine at +0. She's no longer quite good for use as a general tank, but she's still a very valuable character to have in your roster. Thanks for watching my Cecilia Mercenary Spotlight. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful. Thank you.